Alright, it's finally here. The Major League regular season is over. Postseason starts on Tuesday. Time for all of us to make our postseason predictions. This year we're back to just 5 teams in each league competing for a place in the World Series. A much better format than last year's if you ask me. Last time they used this format was 2 years ago when a wildcard team won it all and every game of the World Series was won by the visiting team. I don't think anyone predicted that would happen. Then last year we had the most predictable of World Series matchups when each league was represented by its top seed. This year I think we're going to see some upsets once again. Trying to guess where the upsets will occur is a hard thing to do, but I'm gonna try. In this video I'll compare the teams in each matchup, how their offenses and defenses measure up, home and away records, records in close games, how they've been doing lately, and how they've done against each other. Then I'll try to guess the winner. Sometimes I base it on that information, sometimes I just go with my instinct, against all logic. And I want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments what you think I've gotten wrong and what you think will happen. Alright then, let's get started. In the AL wildcard, we get the classic rivalry, the Yankees and Red Sox. Red Sox will be playing at home where they are 49-32. Yanks are 46-35 on the road. Pitching definitely favors the Yankees. They had the second best team ERA in the AL, number 1 since the All-Star break, and second best in the last couple weeks of the season. Red Sox, on the other hand, have the worst team ERA of any AL postseason team. Since the All-Star break and in the last 2 weeks of the season, they are in the bottom 5 of the AL. As far as hitting, the Red Sox score a lot more runs, higher on base and slugging, though the Yankees do hit more home runs. But in the last 2 weeks, the Yankees were the second highest scoring team, while the Red Sox were 7th. Sox won the season series 10-9. The Yankees are strong at home, but the Sox are over 500 on the road. Both teams are really good in one-run games and extra inning games, slight advantage to the Sox. The deciding factor for me is how they finished. The Yankees had a really strong finish to the regular season that included a sweep of the Sox just over a week ago. The Red Sox, on the other hand, just barely managed to cling to the last spot. I'll take the Yankees in this one. In the NL wildcard, we've got the Dodgers and Cardinals, 2 of the hottest teams at the end of the season. The Dodgers won over 100 games, far more than the Cards, so they'll be playing at home, where they won over 50 games this year. The Cards were 45-36 on the road. Dodgers were the highest scoring team in the National League this year. Cards were 10th. Dodgers are a lot better at getting on base. When it comes to power numbers, it's close, but the Dodgers are still ahead. Dodgers led the league in team ERA, Cards were in the middle. However, since the All-Star break, the Cards are in the top half in ERA. They've scored more runs than the Dodgers, and in the last few weeks, no one's been better than the Cardinals. Though the Dodgers also played really well towards the end, the Cards have had the highest scoring offense recently, and one of the best in pitching. If it comes down to a close game, very likely this is the postseason, the Cards have a much better record in one-run games and extra inning games. They met 7 times this year. Dodgers won 4, Cards won 3. I think the Dodgers are a better team overall. The Cards do have the ability to win this one, and I think they'll make it a good game, but I've got to go with the Dodgers. In the ALDS, the top team in the American League this year, the Tampa Bay Rays, will get the winner of the wild card, and I've already said I think that'll be the Yankees. Rays get the home field. They won the season series between the two. They won over 50 games at home, good on the road too. Number 1 in the American League in team ERA, just ahead of the Yankees. 3rd since the All-Star break, just behind the Yankees. And 1st once again in the final 2 weeks. Highest run total in the American League, top 5 in almost every category. Most of their scoring has come after the All-Star break, but their numbers have slipped a bit in the last month of the season. Still, they had a pretty good finish to the season. One area of concern would be their record in close games. They were 7-12 in extra inning games, 19-24 in one-run games. Meanwhile, the Yankees were over 500 in both. While the Yankees do have the Rays beat in some categories, I've got to go with the better pitching team, the team that won the division. Rays in 5. In the other American League Division Series, the Central Division champion Chicago White Sox take on the champions of the West, the Houston Astros. Astros finished with a few more wins, they'll have home field advantage. In 7 meetings this year, the Astros won 5 and the White Sox won 2. Both teams were pretty good on the road and great at home. In one-run and extra inning games, the Astros were over 500, the White Sox were under. The Astros were the second highest scoring team in the AL, 4th since the All-Star break, and 1st in the last couple weeks. White Sox, in comparison, were 5th in scoring, number 6 since the All-Star break and in the last 2 weeks. These 2 teams were 1st and 2nd in team on-base percentage, but have the lowest home run totals of any AL postseason teams. The Astros are a little ahead in both of those categories. Pitching is dead even between the 2 teams for the year. Astros had a slightly lower post-All-Star break team ERA, but the Sox had the better team ERA in the last weeks of the season. Both teams were not great but decent in the last weeks of the season. So on paper it looks like a good matchup, slight advantage to the Astros. But the difference is Houston played in a much more competitive division and had a much better record against teams over 500. The White Sox had a good season, but I don't think they'll go far in the postseason. Astros in 4. Now to the National League. The team with the best record in Major League Baseball, the San Francisco Giants, will get the winner of the wild card, which I've picked the Dodgers to win. This would mean the two winningest teams in Major League Baseball this year will meet in a division series. They were about even in their regular season meetings. Giants won 10, Dodgers 9. The Giants ranked second in the NL in team ERA and runs scored. They won over 50 games at home and 50 games on the road. They have a winning record in one-run games and extra inning games. They've been consistently good throughout the season and had a really strong finish in the last few weeks. Really hard to find a weakness here with this team, so it would make perfect sense to pick this team to not only win this series, but go all the way and win another World Series. But my instincts are telling me this is not a championship team. I think they'll slip up sooner or later, and I'm betting it'll happen sooner than later. Dodgers in 5. In the other NLDS, we'll see the NL East champion Braves take on the Central champions, the Milwaukee Brewers. Looking at the Braves first, they were third in the NL in runs scored, right behind the Giants and Dodgers, and first in scoring since the All-Star break, fifth in team ERA, fourth since the All-Star break, first in the last couple weeks of the season. They will not have home field advantage, but they've been a better team on the road this year, going 46 and 35 in road games. In extra inning games and one-run games, they were under 500. Now let's compare that with the Brewers. They were third in team ERA. Brewers pitchers struck out more batters than any other team. Fifth in team scoring, trailing the Braves in almost every offensive category. They'll be playing at home where they were 45 and 36. They were even better on the road, winning over 50 games. They also had a winning record in one-run games and extra inning games. So Brewers were the better pitching team. Braves were better at hitting. Braves have home field advantage. They're strong at home, but the Braves are strong on the road. Brewers are better in close games, but the Braves had a much stronger finish. And the 6 games they played this year were split evenly at 3 games apiece. This should be a good series, but like I usually do, I'll go with the better pitching team. Brewers in 5. That would leave us with the Dodgers and Brewers in the NLCS. They met 5 times this year, with the Brewers winning 3. The Dodgers have a little better pitching and a lot better hitting. They've got the home field advantage, but after a hard-fought NLDS win over the Giants, they'll make some mistakes in the NLCS that the Brewers will capitalize on. Milwaukee in 6. And in the AL, the Rays and Astros meet in a rematch of last year's ALCS. The Rays beat them last year, but the Astros are a much improved team. They beat the Rays 4 out of 6 times during the season, and as we've seen in the past, they are a good postseason team. The Rays don't look like the dominant team they were a year ago. Someone will bring them down, and I think it'll be Houston. Astros in 7. So my picks for the World Series are the Astros and the Brewers. Not the best teams in 2021 from either league, but they're the ones that I think will be left in the end. Anything can happen when these two meet. I won't be surprised if the Astros win another World Series title. But I like Milwaukee in this one. They've got what I think is the best balance of starting pitching and relief pitching, and that means a lot in the postseason. Brewers in 6. That's what I think. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.